And I think every man thinks they're like a PI on some level, you know, and we're not. We're all mostly pussies, you know? I mean, like, I talk about this, like, in the special, like, I talk about this guy breaking a pint glass over my head in Vermont, which really happened. It happened, like, last year. I was in a fucking bar.
Wild story.
And a guy just, I didn't do anything. I think people just hear I have a deep voice, and they're like, this will count as, like, beating the shit out of someone. And I'm like,
6'2" with a deep voice. Let's fuck him up.
I can't fight. Yeah. So he just came over and just... And you know, and I was addicted to talking to the victim's advocate in Vermont and being like, "How do we like solve this?" She's like, "No, we solved it. We got it. He's in custody." You know, he was a therapist. The guy who hit me with a pint glass.
Therapist?
Wow. Isn't that crazy? He was a therapist, and he just was like having a bad divorce, and he went for a cop's gun after me. I didn't tell that in the special. He smashed a pint glass over my head. He went for he didn't count on his white privilege. That doesn't work if you're white. They don't shoot. He wanted to get shot.
Yeah,
because he was going through a divorce. He was hoping that the cop would just shoot him after that. But
no shit.
Fucking Vermont, man.
What a weird place.
You get either hippies or you get that fucking cabin in the woods like Bernie Bro shit where they just go at you. Crazy people. But he's a therapist. He lost. He can't. They said he can't treat anyone for 5 years. I was like, yeah, how about just taking his
never?
Yeah, it's 5 a felony.
Years? That's absurd. That's a.
Could you imagine if that was
you
your
know
therapist?
what? I've changed my stance already. I'd like to go to him because like there's nothing you can say where he's not like I get it.
Yeah, he's not going to do it at all.
Like he's going to be with you every
forgive
step
you.
of the way. Like
so Doc, what should I do? I don't know. I smashed the guy in the head with a pint glass. It felt pretty good. Maybe you're that a whirl. I don't know. Could you imagine if you were like, you know, he shows up on, you know, Monday at your usual appointment. He's like, listen, can't see you anymore for 5 years. I got to go to jail. I'm a felon. Like, okay, man.
Crazy. Vermont, man. It's
that
really...
is my first therapist, probably when I was like 17 or so, was one time talking about how he was thinking about moving. He was an older guy. And he was thinking about moving to Vermont with his wife. And he went to visit, I forget what town it was. And he went to visit it in order to kind of get a feel and meet the people and see what, because he was still good. He wasn't going to retire. He was just going to move there. And he was like, I met everyone. I'm staying in Rhode Island. Couldn't do it.
Oh my God. What a horrible endorsement.
Like everyone was too fucked up.
I had a therapist when I was like 18. I had some weird, at the time I was dating a girl. I was going to school in New Orleans and it was right after Katrina. So it was like the where he treated me, the hospital looked like at a Shutter Island. It was abandoned. It was scary. And so I was dating a girl long distance who was, both their parents were psychiatrists, so every time I'd have dinner with them, they'd just be like analyzing me, and like it was brutal. It felt like I was getting roasted, you know. And I remember I hadn't met my biological father yet, so every argument with her would just be like, "Who are you really yelling at?" And I'd be like, "Oh, come on, that's such a hack
it's a
maneuver."
Yeah.
And also you, I'm fucking yelling at you, not him.
This has nothing to do with you being an asshole.
But then my mom encouraged me to see a therapist in New Orleans. So I'm in this abandoned hospital. It's like me and him in this giant hospital. And he was such an asshole, but he was funny. I mean, he was like a funny asshole. Like, I remember I told him about the biological dad stuff, and he goes, "You and mommy against the world." And I was like, Jesus, dude, where did you get your fucking license?
Are you
mommy.
Sure he was a therapist?
Yeah, that
like
dude,
just meet me in this abandoned warehouse.
that was a dude who just grabbed a fucking diploma off a wall. And everyone else was looting TVs. He's like, I'm gonna get a medical license.
That's right. Holy shit. But he was actually like she would email me all the time, and like he would like find like little snippets of like my stand up and like be like, he like loved comedy, so he was happy. But I mean, he loved it a little too much. I think he really.
Have you heard? A couple people have been in here and said that there's a therapist in New York.
I went to him for a while.
He does like the comic.
How many times can you go though and fucking see, you know, Mike Vecchione in the waiting room where you're like, all right, dude, I don't like comic friends eavesdropping. I brought a girl I dated there once. I brought my mom. I don't want to walk out with my mom and see fucking Giannis Papas in the fucking green room. Like, I love these guys, but there are times you don't want to see them, you know? So
the therapy waiting room is one of the worst places in the world because it's almost like being in a hospital waiting room where you're like, what do you have?
Yeah,
exactly.
Only like it's mental instability rather than like a cough.
I remember my friend Phil Hanley was in the waiting room before. He was in therapy before me. I'm in the waiting room, and I heard Alan laugh really hard at something he said, and it was the fucked up comic part of me is like, fuck, now I gotta like bring it. I gotta like I gotta follow this shit. Like it's like there were so many comics.
Yo, this guy, he's just getting free comedy shows. He's not a therapist. He's just in it for the jokes.
He's the real life Dr. Katz. Remember that show? It was a great show. introduced me to every comic, and then you're like, holy shit. And then you start seeing like younger comics there, and you're like, who recommended him? It's like The Cellar. You're like, how did he get past at Allen, you know?